Добрый день, друзья! Добро пожаловать на канал Медиаметрикс, программу «Деньги для бизнеса». С вами Олег Иванов, основатель компании CryptoBazaar. И в нашей программе мы всегда обсуждаем различные вариации того, каким образом предпринимательство развивается, что делается с инвестициями и так далее, и так далее. Сегодня у нас впервые, по крайней мере у нас в передаче, мы будем вести разговор на английском языке, потому что нам очень повезло выхватить такую яркую звезду международного формата. Это небезызвестный, наверное, уже для многих из наших слушателей Ян Balina с его командой. Вот сегодня вся команда у нас в студии. Я сейчас перехожу на английский язык, поэтому все, кто, возможно, нас сейчас слушает, давайте тоже переключайтесь. После этого сделаем небольшой перевод через некоторое количество дней. So, Ian, guys, thanks very much for your time to join in here. How much time it took you to come here from your hotel?
I think it was like 45 minutes 45. Or so. But it was a nice, relaxing 45 minutes.
All right.
Because most of the week has been very hectic. We've been all over Moscow, so having a chance to just kind of unwind in the backseat of a Benz is always nice.
Right, yeah. Ian, if you could probably present, the guys that are sitting here, your team, and who's doing what really? I mean, nice. you're
Sounds
a big
good.
team.
So I'll start with Diego. Right. Diego's a business partner, managing partner of a new ICO advisory firm we're launching.
All right.
It's actually the first time we're announcing it here in Moscow. Cool. All right, it's called 100x Advisors.
All right. And so it's 100x Advisors, right?
.com.
And .com.
Yeah.
Also, okay.
Right.
All right. Cool.
So Diego's a business partner, and so is Hugo. Both of them will be the managing partners of the firm.
Right.
And the whole premise of it is finding the next 100x ICO, and us together as a team really aiding them from beginning to end to hopefully getting 100x returns for investors.
Right.
Right. Okay. Then Drew is our music producer and creative director. Right. So all the creative stuff with music, TV, and entertainment.
So the fun, the girls, the parties, that's about yourself. All these boring guys about money.
Because to take crypto mainstream, you have to be more than just crypto.
Exactly.
Right? It has to become part of everyday life.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Part of everyday TV, everyday fashion, everyday music. So the whole thought process is, as opposed to waiting for people to come to crypto, we're taking our message to their preferred medium of choice.
Right.
And just about everybody loves TV or watches TV in some shape or form.
Sure.
Just about everybody likes to listen to music and fashion and clothes.
Can I ask you one thing? I mean, one of the things, actually I didn't have this question before, but so you raised it at the moment. You definitely have a lot of followers, right? And apparently the initial, people that started following you were the guys who would actually want to find out some technical details about how you score the projects, right?
Yes.
But then once you start having this audience, it's quite a task to actually, keep them entertained, right? And feed them some important stuff, right? So they feel that there is some value that you bring to them.
Right,
Do you find it very difficult in terms of
yes,
sort of
that's kind of
given
been the thing with us as a team. We've been trying to kind of strategically kind of solve. Right, as we get a bigger audience, we have more people to kind of cater to.
Right.
Then at the same time, we're also trying to really differentiate ourselves from everybody else out there in the market.
Right.
And do something nobody else is doing, and really kind of keep on paving the way and the path for new ways of content.
Right.
So now the kind of thing we're trying to work on is really infuse crypto with everything, but still go back to doing the heavy crypto content.
Of course, yeah.
Right, so
that's your strong part anyway.
Right, so I kind of joke around that me personally, I have to graduate from being just a guy doing live streams in my basement. Right? Especially if crypto is going to go mainstream, we have to get past that.
Exactly.
And it has to go to more being kind of like this, right? Like here in a studio, more professional, better equipment.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of now most of my live streams, almost every single one in this year, has been in a different country.
Oh wow.
Right. So really kind of showing the global aspect of crypto and blockchain, and then now kind of working with a TV show. So I feel like the live streams in the basement are graduating to being more of TV shows. Right now, it's just kind of more of us experimenting and finding the right way to really produce that TV show and still offer as much value as possible.
Exactly.
While also making it fun.
Sure.
Right.
Well, yeah, because you cannot take away entertainment out of life anyway. So
I think now for the most part, the live streams, since I can't do them as much because of the crypto world tour we're on, that's mainly being done now mainly by the live events, kind of like the talk we had at your conference here with our CryptoBazaar. So I feel like that's why I have Dan on my team as well. He's our producer, right? So being able to kind of have him and have content everywhere we go and put that out there for people to just kind of consume.
Right.
Because there's still value. It's just more of capturing that value and giving it to our audience in a timely fashion.
Right. So it's not only just numbers and graphs, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just some pictures and people and all.
Absolutely.
Right. Do you find it difficult to actually go across the border and I mean, like different countries, different cultures, different languages, even? Is it difficult to actually cater to the needs of all these people who who are in this sphere anyway?
In some aspects, it is tough. Just kind of trying to figure out what exactly they want and their problems and being able to solve that.
Right.
Right. So, for example, in different regions, the issue could be cashing out to fiat. Maybe they don't have an exchange like Coinbase or GTX or Gemini.
Like here.
That's big.
Yeah.
Or maybe they do have them, but they cap how much money you can cash out. Like maybe they have to do RTCOs, some other kind of service. So being able to kind of know those problems is good.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like that's the great thing about this Crypto World Tour. We get to discover problems in every country around the world and come back and brainstorm and see how we can kind of help people. And for me, it really helps me understand my audience even more.
Right.
Because I've had a chance to meet all of them in their region, understand their problems specifically in their region.
Right. So if we go to the core function of your team and yourself, right? What would you describe it? I mean, how would you describe it? Is it about scoring projects? Is it about the methodology that you use, or what is it?
I would say everything. So specifically, I would say token metrics is kind of where my brand and my name has kind of become popular from. And the whole premise of token metrics is using data and analytics to figure out which ICOs are undervalued and make for great investments.
Right.
So the whole premise is that prior to tokenmetrics, 4 out of 5 ICOs didn't really do much in terms of ROI. Right? Maybe they gave you most of them lost you money, right? Or worst case, they give you a 1x, 2x.
Yeah.
With tokenmetrics, we can flip that and have 4 out of 5 ICOs be a 5x or more.
Yeah.
Right? Just by using data analytics of all the ICOs out there, getting and finding patterns in the data. What made for a great investment?
Okay.
What's that pattern?
Can you share some of the insights in here?
The 3 main insights
that's probably,
from tokenmetrics.
Yeah.
First thing, looking at the data and sample size.
Data meaning?
Data points. So for tokenmetrics, we go out there, gather as many ICOs as possible.
Right.
Gather as many data points as possible, both quantitative and qualitative. Right. So quantitative data points such as how much money they raised, with their hard cap, how many tokens they minted, total token supply, what percent the team kept, what percent was sold to investors, what was the token price. Then also taking into qualitative data points like the team, going through every single team member's background, where they worked for, and seeing what in particular made them great and why did that ICO do well. Then same thing with all the advisors.
Right.
Then same thing with the size of the community. Then trying to figure out, okay, looking at all this now, let's kind of take a macro view at things and see what actually mattered. Right? What's noise and what's actually an insight. And the first key insight is 90% of the best ICOs from an ROI perspective. ICOs like Ethereum, Stratus, Neo, formerly Anshares, all these different projects that did well and got over 100x, some even 1,000x returns.
Exactly, yeah.
90% of them had a prototype. They had shipped code. It wasn't just an idea, it wasn't just a white paper. They had something you could actually try out and test.
Okay.
Right? So as a brand new investor, or even just an average retail investor, if nowadays there are about 40 or more ICOs coming out every day, that's 40 white papers every single day.
Jesus.
Who has time to read that? even if somebody like us, who's full-time in crypto.
It's impossible, of course.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So how do you filter through all those ICOs, but still be very efficient and find those good ICOs and not missing those wobbies, those under-the-radar ICOs?
Exactly.
So using tokenmetrics, you can do that very quickly. Right? So you basically just create a short checklist.
Right.
First thing I look at, if I have 40 white papers on my desk, which one has a prototype? Right? If it's a blockchain, is there a testnet or mainnet? If it's not now, how soon is it, and when is the ICO?
Right.
If they have a test net maybe a month after the ICO, maybe I'll give them some room. But if that test net is launching or mainnet is launching next year,
oh my God,
and they're raising funds right now, that to me is very, very experimental.
Right.
It's basically a research project. It's saying, hey, fund our research for us.
Right.
And we're not in the business of investing in research projects, right? So because historically those have not had great returns.
Yeah, yeah.
So just filtering through those ICOs that have a prototype. Next thing is all-star team. Looking at projects and seeing the team members and seeing where they worked, what specifically makes them qualified for your money and also as an investment and to have great returns. Because looking at the data, 60% of the ICOs had an all-star team. Now looking at teams is very subjective for all investors.
Of course.
Right? There isn't really a right way, but I feel like I've figured out a way that has performed well for us based on our investments. And for me, I check for two things. Minimum has to have 2 all-stars, meaning that definition of an all-star to me is working at a well-known, credible company.
Okay.
Right. So
in some specific area or?
It depends. Right. So first thing I look for is a publicly traded company. Right. For example, if a software engineer worked for Google, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft.
Right.
I mean, for 5 years, I know
that makes sense,
he's a pretty credible guy.
Sure.
Right. So publicly traded company, and I get some pushback on that, which I know is normal. Right. But my point is this: if somebody has, I'm basically kind of using almost kind of like a heretics, or basically just kind of having if somebody has worked at Google for 5 years. That's my research for me. I don't have to spend an hour checking into their background.
Of course, yeah. If he stayed for so long in this company, apparently
if Google thought he was good enough to be there for 5 years,
of course, yeah,
he's a pretty
makes sense.
Credible guy to be a developer, right? So I look for minimum 2 years at a publicly traded company. I like public because it's easy for us to do research on those companies and their employment there. Right? For example, we had an ICO once. Actually, this was Centra. Right, and as you guys know, Centra was shut down by the SEC for being a scam.
Yes,
but we called it a scam during that ICO before anybody knew it was a scam. One of the few ICOs live on the air, I called it scam.
All right.
And you know how we did it?
They should be mad at you, right?
They were. I mean, actually, the funny thing is on Twitter, they claimed they were reporting me to the SEC, and they copied the SEC on the tweet.
Oh my God!
So the irony, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So with Centra, I was basically going through the background of their CFO.
All right.
And I looked at the CFO, and I was like, this woman is about my age, like late 20s.
Okay.
And me, as somebody who's worked in the enterprise world at IBM, at Deloitte, I know CFOs of big companies, especially publicly traded companies.
Yeah, usually they would
typically
be of different
old,
age, of course.
40s or 50s.
Of course.
So that was the first.
Weird, yeah.
That was the first red flag I had.
Okay.
I was like, let me do more homework on this woman.
Okay.
Right, and she claimed particular years to be working as a CFO for this company. This was a publicly traded company. I put up their 10K reports, their stock charts, right?
Yeah.
The annual reports, and all the reports are signed by their CFO.
Of course. Yeah.
So looking at the years she claimed to work there, I didn't see her name there.
Signature. Yeah.
I was like, maybe it's just an error. Went to other reports, didn't see it there.
Right.
Went to last year's report, didn't see it there.
Oops.
Went through every single year. And the CFO, and there was some other CFO.
Right.
And I was like, this is a scam.
Yeah.
I mean, either it's a scam, which is bad, or they're grossly incompetent and made a typo on their LinkedIn or whatever, which means they don't really pay attention to details, which is bad as well.
I mean, it's equal. Yeah,
and then the funny thing is, their marketing team came back to me wanting to pay me to have their CEO come on my show to explain that they made a mistake, whatever.
Right.
But just by saying that during our research process, we called it a scam then.
You wouldn't want to touch it, of course.
While they're raising money. Then a year later, the SEC confirmed the same thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? So that's why publicly traded company for me is a very big thing.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is basically domain expertise. So and also can also be somebody who's worked what I consider top 25 project on CoinMarketCap. Yeah. Right. So projects like Ethereum, Bitcoin, EOS, Neo. Yeah. Right. So for example, an example is Stratus. Stratus was very under the radar project. They had the ICO in summer 2016. Only raised $600,000. That's how under the radar it was by definition. Yeah. But if you had done your homework on them, you would know that they had a Bitcoin core developer working on them.
All right. Okay.
Right? And Stratus is basically taking what Bitcoin is doing and putting that to C#.
Right.
Right, for the enterprise world. Right. So if you're doing your homework, you'd know, okay, they have an all-star. This guy's an all-star.
Right.
Right. So things like that matter. So basically, to kind of sum up, all-star to me is somebody who's worked 2 years at a publicly traded company,
Right.
or 6 months for a top 25 blockchain project. On occasion, there could be some leeway for people who worked for big companies, like in the consulting world, right? Like McKinsey, Bain Capital, something like that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, just if you're the best in your field, basically.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So that's the second step, right? So first is really, do they have the
Prototype,
prototype,
then
and
the all-star team.
not all-star team. Third thing is...
So, I mean, once they have those two things,
Yeah.
then I look at the actual data.
Oh, okay.
So this is just, I call this the ICO gauntlet.
Yeah.
They have to kind of first pass these 2 checkpoints before I even score them.
Right, okay.
So then I look at how much money they're raising, what type of project it is. Is it a DApp? Is it a blockchain?
Okay.
Looking how much, basically looking at then the actual numbers itself,
Right.
scoring that, and then seeing how that performs against past projects in the past.
Right, okay. Okay, and then apparently, I mean, what's the key point for them? Say, let's say if they go through all, these 2 checkpoints, and then you do investigate, and go through all the details. What may happen, and what may you find there that will still not be good for you to invest there? I can imagine like tons of things, but maybe a few very, very
that make us not invest.
Frequent things, yeah.
So, for example, I mean, not one data point in particular, but if there are several combined, because the good thing about Tokenmetrics is you don't have to be perfect on everything.
Right.
Right, but the main thing that could make us not invest are dApps. Yeah. Because historically speaking, dApps have not performed well.
Sure.
Especially since last year. Because now people, even the average investor now knows that infrastructure projects is where the value is.
Exactly, yeah.
That's why you see blockchains really doing the best returns, even in a bear market.
Yeah.
So for us, any dApp that is trying to raise over 13 million is
13, 13.
13.
Okay. Yeah.
Is a pass. I mean, because
it's just
Ethereum,
anyway, yeah. Yeah.
Number 2 biggest project only raised $18 million.
Exactly. That's what I will say on the conferences. I mean, it's like...
So why should a DApp raise 60 million?
Yeah.
I mean, that would just
doesn't make sense.
Out of the room.
Right.
And then if this happens to be a DApp that does, for some reason, is raising less than 13 million,
right,
all the other data points have to be perfect.
Okay.
Which is rare. Right? I mean, perfect.
Yeah.
If it's not perfect, there's one small bad sign.
You'd pass
on it.
All right. I see. Interesting. But this, I mean, from what you told us at the moment, number one, it looks like there's really a big flood of projects coming in, right? So it is quite a task to actually go through all of them to make sure that you don't miss that, really, exclusive project that could bring you all the fantastic returns. So the question is, how do you? I mean, do you cover all of them, or
no? I mean, that's why we have
do you miss them?
Team like
this. So how do you guys do it then?
I mean, so now then with the advisory firm, I mean, Ugo and Diego handle most of the projects coming in.
Right. Oh, okay.
Right. Then I also have a full-time analyst as well, who just kind of give projects, and he just goes through, does the homework for us full-time.
Sure.
Right. Because as we're traveling the world, doing crypto, doing deal flow, meeting people, biz dev.
Right.
Right. We have somebody working full time on that every single day, 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also having them basically. So
I wouldn't say 9 to 5 though. I mean, I know you guys are not workaholics, but like you don't have that button turn off, right?
I mean, not me, but I'm saying my ICO analyst.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
His job full time 9 to 5 now is just ICOs.
Right. Just supporting them, right? Or even finding them.
Yeah, goes through finding ICOs and doing tokenmetrics. Right?
Okay, I see.
And then Ugo and Diego basically, they kind of find ICOs from our world travels. Right? All the ICOs coming to the pitch competitions, they go through Diego and Ugo first.
Right. Okay.
They can kind of speak to that.
So one of the things about being in crypto for such a long time is that you've generated and created such a large network of just investors and blockchain related people, and they're constantly bringing different deals and ICOs to your attention.
Right.
So like Ian said, I'm personally in constant communication with with our ICO analyst.
Right.
And we're talking about different ICOs and opportunities every single day.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, with you being so popular across the world, I'm sure like there's everybody knocking at your door, right? I mean, with phone numbers, with just you name it, social media and
we
stuff.
get pitched everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, to a point,
how do you hold on?
I mean, to a point, we even have a song called Mike Piazza that Drew made.
We're gonna shoot a music video about it.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
But I think in response to that, that's why it's good to have a team. That
Sure.
way, you know, people can kind of split the roles and
Exactly.
cater to each other's strengths. While Ian is, you know, very busy doing other things, we can kind of, you know, handle the
Of course.
workload. And with the experience that we have being crypto investors, we can kind of, you know, also use some metrics from the spreadsheet to, you know, easily scan
Sure.
these projects to see, you know, what we're interested in investing, and then from those little projects we can, you know, do further research and eventually kind of convene and talk through, you know, the projects and see if it's something that we're
Yeah.
very interested
In all honesty, I mean, we've gone through like several discussions of the projects that were, you know, supposedly, you know, were supposed to come on stage during our event here.
Yes.
And yeah, to be honest, I was very impressed by the time. I mean, by the level of detail that you guys are actually digging. It's very, very, very impressive. So good school, you know.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like throughout the conference, the Moscow conference in Balina Crypto World Tour,
Yeah.
you know, I gave my contact out to like maybe 30 people, and
Yeah.
out of 30, 20 were ICO pitches,
Right.
and I did filter out a lot of them.
Sure.
And I think maybe out of 30, there was like 2 of them that really caught my attention that we're currently working with right now to just like do more intensive research.
But that's good numbers, though, no?
Yeah, so about like 20 different ICOs per conference, right? So I'm not gonna go into the conference talk because I'm gonna let Ian introduce that aspect
Of course.
prior to doing so. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're traveling so much, because we get to, you know, kind of elaborate and
Yeah.
have a further.
Do you guys see any like maybe specific hubs that on the global scale, right? That say, you know, the best projects are coming from, you know, traditionally, I don't know, China, South Korea, Silicon Valley, or there's some other locations that are actually popping up now, say Portugal or Israel or something like this, or you don't really see it across the board? It's more or less homogeneous, or?
I think it's kind of tough to say that right now. There are lots of spaces that are getting good projects coming out,
Okay.
but there's not really one that jumps out. I mean, I would say maybe Korea, Seoul, Korea.
Yeah.
Lots of infrastructure projects are coming out, like ICON.
Yeah.
Then I think
There we go now. Yeah.
The Ergo now, so
Yeah.
that's 2. Then even Phantom is
Yeah.
based there, but Phantom is too early to really crown them anything.
Okay.
Especially when it's a research project. Midnight is launching next year.
Right.
But Ergo and ICON, for one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts is there's been historically good projects from China because they have big investors and somehow they've done well in terms of marketing. I mean, you can look at what One Chain did in terms of marketing. It's pretty
phenomenal. Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal. So, but I do see South Korea, you know, being a country that has 40% of crypto volume.
Wow.
And now having a lot of projects coming out there, I can see South Korea being, you know, the next big wave, because it just depends on what the government's stance is on ICOs. I think once that gets, you know, removed, I can see some pretty good projects going out of there. I would say another country that I think could be, you know, very strong is India. They have, they're pretty strong. They have very, you know, good tech guys. They haven't done
anything so far.
They haven't done anything. I think one project that's come out is Zebi, but I still think they face the same problem with South Korea, where they have a little bit of a handicap because of the government as well. And I think eventually, just looking at, you know, the demographics and kind of how everything is happening, that I think for some reason, the level of talent, I think if the government kind of lifts the ban, I could see, you know, India really getting into the blockchain space, and they really, you know, have a good use case for it. Because I've been hearing they have a lot of you know, gold, where people you know, stashing gold. So if somehow they can figure out another way to kind of move money, which is crypto, I can see India being a very big hub as well. So
guys, I mean, apparently being, you know, coming from America, right? Do you see Silicon Valley playing a big role, or, you know, increasing the big role there in the area of blockchain, or not really? Because there's very
I think
extreme opinions there.
Yeah, it's both. But I feel like due to the uncertainty with regulation in the U.S., lots of good projects in America, Silicon Valley, for the most part, are only raising funds privately.
Yeah, very true.
Right, projects like Filecoin and some other projects. Right,
New Cipher, like just
all those projects raising funds privately, which isn't really good for the average retail investor.
Yeah, very true.
So unless you're a fund in Silicon Valley, it's gonna be hard to get in there. And actually, I feel like some of them even don't really get the perspective of the current crypto investor.
Yeah.
They're still treating this like funds. Like I had a project that was well known. Actually, I'll just name it Oasis Labs.
Yeah.
I mean, so people are kind of getting really excited about it. And we had a call with the team. And the first, actually, even prior to getting a call with the team, it was hard getting a call with the team. Because
it was the case, right?
I had an intro, but they weren't really friendly communicating with.
Okay.
Right? Because they said, hey, Ian, let's have a call. We're oversubscribed, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, cool. Can you send me your token metrics? Then we have a call. The response, we're oversubscribed.
Silence. Yeah, okay.
Let's have a call. I said, that's great, you're oversubscribed, but I need to have some data. I don't blindly invest.
Yeah.
What are token metrics? It was back and forth. Like, let's have a call. Okay. I had the call in there. Token metrics were horrible.
Really? Okay.
Right? But there was just still so much demand because there's this new thing which I kind of call dumb smart money.
Okay.
And basically, all these funds, right, and family offices now have a ton of capital and they're saying, oh, crypto is a place to go.
Yeah.
Just put money in any ICO and you'll make money.
And it's a good way of actually putting the money in your private sales, right? Because through all these SAFT agreements, it's pretty much very similar to your venture deal, really. Anyway.
Yeah. So now we're seeing all these funds and family offices come in and invest into projects blindly, just because there's a bunch of hype or whatever.
Yeah.
Right, which I think isn't really a good way for the community to go, and I think people will get wrecked.
Yeah.
And because those investors also have different, I guess problems that they're trying to solve with their fund, or different goals. I would say is probably a better word. Different goals.
Of course, yeah.
Right, kind of a large investor is okay with a 1x or 2x.
Sure.
Right, from 50 million.
Yeah.
Right. Right, but if you're only putting in 5 million, you want 100x.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So those two, that big spectrum is really confusing projects.
Yeah.
Right. So then you have these projects only raising 30 million, but with poor terms, and they don't even want to share much of the project with you. Just want to say they're oversubscribed. Give us your money.
Yeah.
Right, which I think is the wrong way to go. And what leads to horrible
it's
returns.
It's definitely something unbalanced at the moment. I mean, apparently, if we look at the ticket sizes even of the current ICOs, right? I mean, they're just going through the roof, right? If we go through all the well-known guys like Hashgraph, Definity, Thunder Token now, I think the valuation is crazy, right? I mean, do you see?
So even that one, kind of going back to the whole point with Silicon Valley, that one, technology-wise, is great. But first of all, they have a long lockup, 12-month lockup.
Right, yeah.
And one of the things you have to kind of understand in crypto, 1 month is like 12 years in crypto.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so that's like over 144 years just waiting for 12 months. And we kind of learned this with OneChain. OneChain was a great project, supposedly, at that time. Right? Now I'm kind of less bullish on OneChain, but we had to wait 6 to 7 months for 10x.
Yeah.
Which is horrible in crypto. Yeah. I mean, you're better off just doing a 2x every 2 months. Right?
Well, yeah, of course. Like, if you do, I mean, it's a lot of work though, right? To actually flip all the capital, so intensively with all the projects, with all the efforts that you have to make with all the projects, right? Because it's taking time. You have to take,
But I feel like investors have to take into account opportunity cost of having the capital tied up. So tying it up for 12 months, just to get a 10x. When in December we got 100x, 100x, and 50x in the same month. Right, so
that was a good month, by the way, and good bets on the projects.
Right. Because you could miss the bull market. In that time. Yeah. You could miss the only bull market of that year.
Very true.
Which changes everything. Yeah. But then with Thunder Token, also that large bonuses mainly to funds. If you got in, I think via the seed round, you got in at I think it was 2 cents, something like that.
Yeah, 2 or 4.
Like 2 cents.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Then now the going rate is 12 cents.
Yeah.
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
10 to 12. That's like a 5x automatically. Still private sale.
Yeah, yeah.
So by the time the general public gets it on exchanges, right, it's going to be ridiculous.
Exactly.
There's so many discounters going to funds. There's basically only the rich getting richer.
Yeah. Do you think it's? I mean, is this a trend? I mean, do you expect that most of the strong projects would actually follow the same practice? Because it's only.
I'm seeing it happen in Silicon Valley,
right,
and also in China, in Asia.
Okay.
Lots of because of the regulation in the U.S. and China, lots of projects are only raising funds from institutional investors.
Right.
But the issue with that is now the funds are flipping those allocations, not even concerned much with the project, but just to flip it and get a guaranteed 3x.
Right.
Because for the fund, that's a great return.
Exactly.
Because that's kind of happening now with RSK. You're seeing lots of, because RSK you can't really pull that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the way they're kind of getting around it is.
Yeah, they started with a price of 14,000 tokens per Bitcoin. Now it's going within like 7,000 to 8,000. So that's your that's
so
your double the amount of
so
money.
funds are the ones that just kind of flipping it to other people.
Yeah. So we call it here like the secondary market because it's I mean massively we started actually seeing this with Telegram apparently.
Yeah, Telegram.
Which was another huge case apparently, but. So you do believe that this is going to be happening more and more, right? So
with the large projects raising a ton of money, right? Those raising over 200 million, right? The RSKs, the Telegrams, the Hashgraph, the Definities, right? Large funds just put in 50 million. You get a 3x. That's 150.
Do you think like just sitting on the side of let's say of the projects themselves, right? The founding teams. Would you think that this is probably a better strategy for them? Because if you say, okay, you have this big investors, they're not really cautious about all the fluctuations on the market. So I lock them up for a year, 2 years, so I have like a big bag of money, really. So I can sit there for ages, right? I mean, for like 3-5 years, I have enough resources to actually, experiment with whatever I have. So all the small ICOs that are, raising 10, 30 mil or something, they would just. They would be exhausted by the time something happens in the market. So I would still survive. So
if you're raising that much money, you'll be in business for a while.
Yeah.
Right. So the founders and the teams will obviously that's better incentive for them.
Right.
But I'm not sure if this is necessarily the best for the community aspect of things, right? Because the whole point of being decentralized is giving everybody a chance to be part of the community.
Sure.
But if all the tokens are only owned by the whales. Right, that's when you kind of have communities getting mad, and the sentiment, which I think matters a lot in crypto.
That's a good point. I never thought of it. Yeah,
the sentiment that matters.
Yeah, and to add to that, from an adoption perspective, the whole point of building blockchain is to get users. So how do you get users if they can't get a piece? If everything is locked within a fund, then you either have to spend lots of money marketing. And things like that, but the whole point on how it all started was to give everyone a little bit and get them engaged so they can use.
So that's the end of decentralization, pretty much, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So interesting.
I also feel like the market is constantly transitioning, right? So back in December we were going through a bull run. Now we're kind of like in a bearish market, right? And so you have to transition with the market as an investor as well.
Exactly.
And right now, funds are the first ones, obviously, obtaining these allocations. And so I'm sure if we were in the beginning of a bull market, they wouldn't be flipping these ICOs. They would most likely be holding them, right? Just because the capital is being injected into the market, so they know that the valuation of whatever ICO they're investing is also increasing. But since we are in a bearish market, we are seeing this kind of trend and behavior taking place.
Because you need liquidity and whatever else.
Exactly. So as an investor, you always have to be up to date and be ready for the transition that the market kind of indirectly shows you.
What do you feel like? Will we see any bull runs this year? I know it's kind of a magic question or whatever. Just you don't know how to answer it. But you probably through your travels around the world, speaking with all these people, what do you see?
It's kind of hard to predict. Right, if I knew when, I'd be even richer.
All right.
But I think the best thing to do is figure out how to make money in a bear market.
Yeah.
And I think that's still possible, right? And you have to really be very diligent and almost even more stringent with what you invest in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right, because in the last bear market, we still made money in projects. Like QuickChain did a 15x, over 10x in the bear market. even Pundi X has been tearing it up in a bear market.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So if you have even just like one big win each month in a bear market,
yeah,
you can still survive.
Now, it also, I mean, in all honesty, it really depends on the amount of money that you're managing, right? Because apparently, if you're managing like a few tens of thousands of, tens of millions of dollars, I guess you can, make use of this capital to actually rotate it, with this frequency. But then, the closer you get to 100 mil,
no, that's tough.
The harder it's becoming to actually do things, right? So, like, imagine if somebody comes to you and say, guys, I mean, you're very experienced. We're ready to put like ton of money here, like 100 mil, 200 mil. What would you do?
With $100 million?
Yeah. In crypto, yeah.
In crypto, I think the best thing to do at that point is really from your own incubator, and really be the first investor in a project.
But would they come to you though? I mean, let's say, your Phantoms, the Arigos,
yeah, I feel like projects like that.
See them.
Yeah, projects like that is very. If you have $100 million, it's very hard to get into a project like that, because they'll be raising only about $40 million.
Yeah.
And there's so much competition to get into those projects.
Sure.
So I feel like the best thing to do is kind of, I think something we're kind of going more towards with our firm, is being the first investor in every project you invest in, where you can get the largest allocation, which could probably, in a project raising 40 million, might be about 5 million.
Okay.
So with 5 million, you could probably do 20 ICOs.
Sure.
So just kind of diversifying over 20 ICOs, but being the first investor and getting as much as possible.
Right.
Right. And I feel to do that, you have to discover the ICO first, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the thing we're doing with our Crypto World Tour, because it's basically a way for us to just get global deal flow.
Yeah.
And really being plugged into every region in the world, and having a pulse and having contacts there.
Right.
Keep us it's kind of our own decentralized network, right? For deal flow.
Of friends, yeah.
Right, like for example, here in Russia, right? I'm pretty sure if you guys have any good projects here, you should share that with us.
Of course, yeah.
So imagine
pleasure,
a Crypto Bazaar type community in every country we're going to.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of. I think the best case study is Sparkster, right? So we're basically creating a platform that will entice those projects wanting to be discovered,
right,
to come to. Right, Sparkster flew all the way from London to come pitch our event in Amsterdam.
Oh wow! Right,
and they pitched, and it was a good project. They got lots of attention and press. We did a homework in them. We were probably the first. We're one of the first 5 investors in them. Right. They got a very nice big allocation. Right, and now it's a very hyped project. Over 60K people in their Telegram group.
Yeah, yeah.
So imagine.
No, it is flying.
Right, and we got a very nice allocation. So we aren't fighting for an allocation in the private sector with other funds.
You do not need an acceleration, team or like an accelerator for that, right? You need all this experience.
Okay, yeah, not necessarily an incubator, but just some kind of value to offer the projects to have them come to you first,
right,
over anyone
else.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're coming to the end of our interview. Unfortunately, it's just the times fly very quickly, but. Maybe a few points for the advice, as an advice for investors and the projects. What would you recommend here?
For investors in the projects?
Yeah, or a few of them for one group and a few others for the other group.
I guess I can start.
All right.
For projects, pretty much just kind of have a almost ready product upon launching your ICO. One of the things that we're starting to see is there's a lot of ICOs that are pretty much like white paper ICOs, right? And so if you just have a working product, a test net, and a main net release within the next like 1 quarter or 2 Qs, then obviously you're gonna have a lot more interest from an investor's point of view.
Yeah.
So just be well prepared with a working product.
Right.
Upon launching, I think it's one of the most important things.
Okay.
Yes.
I think from a marketing perspective, don't just use buzzwords.
Yeah.
Along this world tour, we've seen a lot of people. Obviously, infrastructure is a big hot word. Chain is a big hot word.
Protocol.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll throw mining next to something, and a lot of times potential investors are confused.
Right.
And we can kind of see through that as investors get smarter. So be sure to be honest with your marketing and find the right words, because we know when you're just throwing us things that you think we want to hear. Investors,
Good point.
Yeah. And for investors, the market has transitioned from what it was in 2017, early April, the December run, to what it is now. I think investors have to be smarter. They have to do more research, invest in projects that actually have something tangible, have a decent cap where you can still, be able to make money. And I also think investors need to be, learn as much as they can in this bear market, because those skill sets are going to transition into a bull market, and you'll be stronger and better prepared to take advantage. So I just think people need to be patient and believe that in a bear market, that's when you actually learn the most. And and I think they need to have that mindset and not just think it's all bad. Everything happens for a reason, and I think it's the timeline that you got in. You need to be patient with it and still see the overall picture that blockchain industry is here to stay and it's going to be the future. So when you have that vision, then you know that whatever is happening today, it doesn't really determine what's going to happen the next 2 to 3 years. So people need to understand that.
Very true. And probably the last thing, how do you see, again, without politics, putting aside, how do you see the role of Russia, the Russian projects, Russian developers, teams, communities in this whole global infrastructure? Any chances for, for the projects to actually do something significant here?
I believe so. I mean, there's too much talent here. I feel the only issue is just getting global awareness.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we're here in Russia. We're also here to form business partnerships. And we feel like because I think our team really is well crafted to help take projects global on a mainstream level.
Totally,
we have a very global team, lots of backgrounds, lots of connections everywhere. And we're here in Russia specifically to find the next 100x project. Right? That's what we call it, 100xadvisors.com.
Yeah.
Right? Go there, check us out. And we feel like our team, from both the business part to investing to even the creative side of things, right? With Dan, with Drew, being able to really partner with a project and figure out, okay, sure, it's a Russian project, but we can help you become the world project.
Sure.
Because we feel like ICON had this moment by putting Korea on the map for blockchain and crypto.
Yeah, just very significantly, by the way.
And we feel like there's going to be one here in Russia.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
We want to be one of the first investors in that one.
All right, we'll definitely try to take care of that.
I agree. I think Russia has a lot of potential with global awareness and partnering with the right strategic partners. Thanks. I think there's definitely potential for the next 100x.
All right, cool. Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of work for us guys to see and to do, and hope you'll enjoy the games. Right? I mean, for the rest of the championship. Last night was a very surprising game, I guess.
Yes, gave us hope.
Yeah, yeah. In a few minutes, there's another one starting. So. Thanks for coming over, guys. It's been a big pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Spasiba.
Hey. And let's just for the at the very end, can you probably say the domains?
Domains, okay.
Yeah, the domains that people could visit and actually find.
They can learn more about me at ianbalina.com.
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 All right.
Then our firm, 100x Advisors. That's 100x. advisors.com.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So guys, please pay attention to these links. Definitely visit them. Definitely pay attention to what the guys can offer to you, because if it's not Ian, Balina and the team, I don't know who could actually do a similar type of effect on your project. Thanks again, guys, and see you definitely around the world. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.